All right, Shalom Israel. Another quick video giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakah Kadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Double honors to the Apostle Elder Bishop of Great Millstone. One salutation to the brother seeking word for the hopeful elect, to the hopeful stand elect, Shalom, blessing men, women, children. Yeah, age is but a number, and I'm gonna put a question mark. And I always use the Aaliyah thing and a few other stories, sometimes an example. And, you know, the apostles, they've said it and it's biblical, you know. Dealing with younger women. Now, I think I was talking to Bon, and he said they changed the, what did they say, the legal age adulthood to 17 here in Oklahoma. But that's still iffy because people have in their mind like 18 as an adult. And when I think about that phrase, if you will, like age is none but a number, sung by Aaliyah, and people will consider that and say, well, yeah, you know, especially when they get older, and you might have a 40-year-old woman messing with a 20-year-old dude, and vice versa. A 40-year-old dude messing with a 20-year-old woman. And they say, well, I'm kind of, well, age ain't nothing but a number. You know, I think that was, people started saying that. It's like a, throw around phrase, if you will. And, but, when it even says that to deal with our wives, it says dwell with them according to knowledge. So knowledge is really your age. I mean, in a sense, and you can know things, a lot of things, and I don't want to leave it dry like that, because knowledgeable according to the Spirit, according to things that are put in place as accurate and confirmation of what those things are, to how you apply them, of what you learned. And so if if you're like 30 years old, 20 years old, even 40, 50, and you never learned certain things in life, you could become to society like a little child, because you like, damn, I don't know this. So you can easily become a dependent, like a little child. But you're a full grown man. You've been places, you've been around. And even among the Jewish people that call themselves Jews and are not, they know that a man becomes a young man at 12, and a woman, a little girl becomes a young woman at 13. It's written in there. They go by those standards too. Believe me, I've been to bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and I've seen, them play that out. So I've brought this incident that happened with this teen serving life. This is how fagged out America is. This is how bitch made and demon ass America is. Now, it is Lionel Tate conviction for killing girl overturned. Now, it was his sister, Florida teenager Lionel Tate, serving a life sentence for killing a 6-year-old playmate. When I guess it was playmate. I thought it was his sister. When he was 12, will get a second chance to accept a plea deal offered before his trial. The Broadway County State Attorney's Office said Friday. Now, according to law, he's a child. He's definitely a child, a baby, according to the law. Even you could be, well into your 40s and 50s, and then coming to the truth, you're a baby because you don't know the truth. You never learned the truth. So if you don't know the law, you gonna be a baby to the law. You're like, damn, I don't know the law. So he and I think if I'm not mistaken, he put a he. I think this is the same story. He was uh he was wrestling with his playmate, and I think the playmate was a sister, and he killed her on accident. It wasn't on purpose, and they charged him as an adult. Now he probably grew up. I mean, was watching wrestling at that time, and he said like, "Damn, I want to try this." And she was she just happened to be, there for him to try that, and it resulted in this. Now, and then you say, well, if a true judge say, well, damn, did you mean to? Now, going back to the Aaliyah thing, well, if Aaliyah, y'all say she was innocent and she was 14, and she was never put on trial to be tried as an adult during the case of them trying to fuck with R. Kelly, then you be like, well, damn, I mean, was she did she know about these things? Was she taught these things? That's the only thing they can go into to justify her being, a little child. But they'll convict a 12-year old for killing a 6-year old. So that's how fag these fucking devils are, man. And Most High is gonna destroy these devils, man. He gonna destroy all these devils, man. Cause when you have something that doesn't make sense, it has to be destroyed. You know, it has to be destroyed, man. So you got, um, so like I said, going back to when it says when you dwell with them, dwell with your wives according to knowledge, dwell with basically women according to knowledge. Um, if you have a young woman that doesn't know anything about anything, you're not gonna wish for her to be your wife, or want to take her as your wife, because she don't. Especially when you have wisdom, you have a top wisdom. You know, Solomon being an example. You're not gonna take a a young woman that's not ready and that's not that doesn't know how to be a woman. Um, Now, even in the grape case, that people are bothered by. Well, that's a subject matter that's touchy when it comes to Israelites. I get it because they haven't been learned, but think about it too. When you have when you go back to the ancient and you have Israel as a nation, you have supervision, you have fathers watching over their daughters, fathers ruling their household. Then you're not gonna be able to get the daughter just like that, man. Like Jacob, he had to work for Rachel, you know, and even when he was deceived, so to speak, he still put in the work to get Rachel when Leah was put before Rachel. So and then you pay shekels to the father. So it was a system. It was an orderly system. When these women think about how we teach, they think about Esau's way. When we go into the breakdown of the grape law, they think about Esau. They think about Esau the way he graped us, how he stole and robbed the land. That we didn't do that. Israelites that our established fathers going according to the law didn't do that. But of course, we went off with the law. We understand that. But um, when you deal with all things, even with women and young women, you use your knowledge and wisdom that was given to you to deal with those matters. Um, that's why it talks about the commandments of when it talks about fathers and mothers, that you're not supposed to lay down with your sister. You're not supposed to lay down with your auntie, your father's sister, and all. It lists those things, because it's order in play. It's you know. So, but Israel do that shit all the time, man. They do that shit all the time, and Aaliyah's mother, she basically gave her daughter to the industry. You with a man all You let your daughter be with a man all days and a night in the studio. And the first song, I'm pretty sure he told her the song, whatever. He knew. Leah said she never really traveled without her family, so she knew about the song "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number." You're not gonna sing that with my daughter. We just doing a studio. We just doing a song. Nah, I don't want you. If you really feel like that, I don't want my daughter. I don't want you talking to my daughter about nothing about age ain't nothing but a number and all that bullshit. And you coming out with your freaky ass songs. No, you ain't gonna be chilling with my daughter. But you know what? They sold. They sold out. She sold her daughter to the industry. So when you have those elements, you can't. There ain't no way you can have a voice for that. But let Jake tell it he can. But anyway, it says now you had rulers at 12. Ecclesiastes 10:16. Woe to you whose kings, well, it says Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 50 and 5 years in Jerusalem. Yahweh Shai, when he was in the midst of doctors, and it says Luke Luke 2:41, it says, now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast, and they went that they had fulfilled the days as they returned. The child Yahweh Shai tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in the company when a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolks and acquaintance, and when they found him not, they turned back to Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of doctors, both hearing them, and asking them questions. So he was a young man at the age of 12 in the midst, and asking the doctors, hearing them and asking them questions. So when you were 12, you're very very knowledgeable. But of course, in this America, and in this system and in America, period, you are really dumbed down. America dumbs people down. So we get that. You're not mature. You're not ready. You know. But I mean, if any case, it would be better that a daughter would be raised under a righteous man, and he can groom her to be a righteous woman. Now, if he's a pimp or a whoremonger, those type of things, that's different. But Aaliyah's mother gave her to the whole industry. And she was, about, Lil Kim and all them, and who she was acquainted with or ran with. They all industry people. All, and what leads to, what the industry, gets our people to be led into. So if she was still alive, she probably would have. I don't know. I can't say, but most of our people, when they join the industry, they end up fucking up their lives. She probably would have been in a worse situation in which she even suffered at her death. And they said she didn't really suffer because she was unconscious before the plane really crashed. But in any case, our people are hypocrites, and they're evil because and they didn't protest. It wasn't no mass protest for this young boy that he would consider in America, and to the black woman he would be considered a child. 12 years old. That's a little kid, but we know in the scriptures that that's a young man. But they tried him as an adult though, and he's teen serving life in prison. I don't know what the situation is now, but it has been times where you had. I think the youngest that got executed, sent to death, was a black man, a young black, which they would call a boy, 12 years old. Nobody did no protest against that or anything. So our people are hypocrites and shit, man. And then you go, what I go, Ecclesiastes 81, who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. So you become more mature. You look more mature. You carry yourself more mature. So if you see a little girl and she's 13 or 14 or whatever, 15, 16, she's acting goofy, skipping and talking outside of her neck, and has no conduct about herself, no moral walk about herself, no spirit about herself according to how the Most High would want her. Yeah, she's a, you know, sometimes people equate being young dumb. That's why they had that saying, yeah, I was young and dumb. Because when you don't know stuff, you just dumb to stuff. And I don't label dumb as retarded. Dumb to me just means like you don't know, but it could become a thing. It could become like, yeah, you really like stupid is more of a confirmation that you just stupid. You just don't get it. You refuse to get it, and you refuse to see it. So yeah, you've been taught and you still do it. You stupid. So it's a lot of people that are dumb to a lot of things because they haven't been taught. But when you get taught, and I don't know what dumb. I gotta probably look it up. But you know, um, when you are taught and you still do it, then you like, then you. So our people have been dumbed down in this world, and they don't have no wisdom. So they face it. They can take up on an innocent look still at 14, 15 years old because they haven't been taught anything. But a lot of these women that's in the industry, they talk mad shit at 14, 15 years old, 13 years old. And that song, AJ Nunn, go listen to that song. That song is very seductive. It's very seductive. Don't even try to pass that shit up. It's very seductive, man. She's talking about getting it on. She's talking about laying down and getting into the sheets, man. They're gonna act like it's an innocent song. See, that's why people gonna be held accountable for the shit they act like they innocent and like, oh, y'all know some shit. Y'all know shit, man. Black people know shit. Latino know shit. They know shit what things mean. But when it comes to like what how they feel and they own personal feelings, they want to be like, oh no, I ain't no way that should be happening. But it happens every damn day, man, and y'all don't do shit about it. Nobody came to this man's rescue, and if it was vice versa around, maybe they would have made a little noise. But y'all ain't built for righteousness, man. Y'all ain't built for really examining things and make sure it's really right. Y'all motherfuckers listen to shit off the top of your head and listen to people that don't even mean shit, that don't even have uh, any knowledge themselves. Now, the all these men, all these young men, or these 12-year-olds that were either executed or tried as an adult, as far as I know, are little boy, what they would consider boys. No little girls have that I know have been tried. So that lets you know they target young black men. But they know, the elites know that when you turn 12, you're a young man. Now, in the scriptures, when you had a young prince, and I'm speaking as a man, and when you have if you're a young prince and you're 12 years old and you're a young prince, of course, you have a nation with you. You have, your your uncles and your father, you know, is as part of your supervision of being a prince or being, you know, a young ruler. So you have those fashions. We don't have that today. So if there's a governing body and that to make sure everything is in play and everything is done right, and then you be like, well, you know, I got a 14-year-old daughter, but she ain't gonna mess with anybody. She got to be with a holy man. So she's 13 and 14 years old. Like if Aaliyah's father, if he wasn't a wicked ass nigga and a ninja, he wouldn't allow that to happen. And if he did, he would line it up with the lines of R. Kelly have to be righteous. You have to be, you know, oh, okay, you're a decent man for my daughter. Cause she's ready to have children. She's talking about that she want a boyfriend and everything, and or a good man. She's already mature when she's talking like that. So you can't stop your children really, like you know, your children can sneak out of your window or whatever they can do. You know, even with laws and regulations and a nation, you know, a foundation, all that, your children can still rebel and jump out the window. But a lot of times when that happens, when the rebellion happens or when this disengagement happens, it's because of you not applying knowledge to, to instruct those things within your daughter so she'll feel comfortable with you enough to be like, yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I believe my father. I'm gonna just wait for a man, and then when he, and he allows and sees that, damn, yeah, you, then that'll be. But there's nothing like that in the black community. I don't even think in the Latino community. Um, so if there's no knowledge applied, like it says, wisdom maketh a man face to shine. If there's no knowledge, knowledge of wisdom shall be the stability. At times, if there's no knowledge and wisdom and understanding everything, of course, your daughter's gonna be growing up as whores, and then the whole family structure is gonna be torn apart, and then your daughter is gonna be married to a pimp instead of a righteous man, and she gonna be 14 years old, running away from home, and then being like, yeah, I'd rather do this and be free this way because mine tripping. I'm on my cycle. I'm emotional. I need help, and my mind giving it to me. So I'm gonna depend on a man, or find strength of a man because he's telling me what I should do, and he's instructing me. So you can't get out of this loop, and you can't get out of these things that require knowledge, wisdom, understanding, which our people disregard because they want to get high and smoke all day and fucking drink and party all day. So that's your fucking fault, Israel. The way we fucked up today is your fault, man. Fix your fucking ass self, man. And I gotta drop the F-bomb because y'all Israel be bullshit, man. They don't love their people. They don't love their children because if they did, they'll teach them knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and according to this Bible. Because it ain't out there. It ain't out there but through the prophets. But it ain't in America. It ain't in the text. It ain't in education. It ain't in these churches. So y'all going off, man. Anyway, shalom.